Hello, it's Noah Vortex. Like and subscribe. I'm going to do a video today about my two new books. One of which has been released before, but it's a second edition, and one which is completely new because you have the paperbacks available now. Both these books are available on Amazon, and I'm basically just going to introduce each book, talk about each, and yeah, just riff a bit on what was going for with these stories, and just in general talk about the process of writing these two books, of which are now available on Amazon, like I said. So the two books are called Romance and the Commieblocks, which is the paperback copy here, Romance and the Commieblocks, a little blurb on the back. Published on Alien Rabbit. Alien Rabbit's a new publishing company I've set up with Naomi Valley, who's also an artist. We've got a graphic novel coming soon, and then also the second edition, new and improved with a preface, of Suicide by Computation, which I've talked about previously. Again, similar format, trade book format. That's Suicide by Computation. Okay, so I want to talk first, I think, about Romance and the Commieblocks. So obviously it's quite a fairly provocative title. I did the graphic design myself. It's a nice A4 format, and basically, just give you a little bit of a look inside. It's 11 stories in flash fiction. So each story is has got an original artwork I've made before the story itself. So this sort of thing. So the content. Let me just talk a bit about what informed the writing of this book, what I was going for with it. It is basically, I think it's how many pages? Just under 60 pages. It says it's lovely print quality. You can order it on Amazon, and the link will be below. So Romance and the Commieblocks was I lived in Russia for 2 years. But not all the stories are about Russia. I mean, or the East in general, or Slavs, or whatever. Like it's not just about that. But I thought I lived in a commie block for 2 years. I was living in Russia for basically 2 years. I was teaching out there English. But saying that, most of these stories were written after I was in Russia. But it was more or less my attempt to process a lot of different things, a lot of different experiences I've had, and obviously just to write stories. Stories don't have to be directly linked to your personal life, right, or your personal experience, but some of them obviously are on some level. So we have a story of, and there's some satire as well, and it's not purely just directed at Russia, it's not purely about Russia. Some of the stories are actually very critical of our obsession in the West with social media and the sort of cult of narcissism that's developed in the West, really, as well. But so I'll just read the blurb on the back. Romance in the Commieblocks is a collection of 11 short stories and flash fiction about love, rebellion, and everything in between, by British artist and writer Chris Godber. Me. A pitiless clone witnesses his own death live stream to a numb audience. A programmer feeds his addiction to make it through another. Two strangers experience the infinite on a desperate search for the truth. A bureaucrat finds his soul, and another bureaucrat finally loses his. So the themes that are predominant in this book there's obviously a dystopian theme that runs throughout. They're set in worlds which are either in the future of ours in real places, or in fictionalized worlds. In far future worlds. Some of them are set in the far future, some of them are set in a world not that far from the present, some of them are set in unspecified worlds. So I don't want to spoil too much, obviously. Like, one of the stories also deals with psychedelic themes, how people can try and search for the truth on psychedelics, but also get more lost in the sort of noise of that. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Like, overall, like I like the format of the book that I've created here. I think it makes it somewhat more of it's almost like a magazine format, basically, with the A4. It's a shiny gloss cover. You can pick up on Amazon. It's about, I think it's based £10 or £12 basically, and it's a nice, authentic art object in a lot of ways, with some interesting stories that you can flip through. It's also available as an ebook too, but if you do like the real thing, consider getting the paperback version. Let me just try and a lot of the influences of this story have been. I've been reading quite a lot of Orwell recently. Also, been reading a bit of Herman Hesse's like existential literature from the past. Chekhov, been reading recently, but that hasn't been specifically the influences. The influences are also Harlan Ellison, the science fiction writer who I wrote "I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream." Definitely, reading that short story had a big impact on me actually, in terms of writing about just worst case scenarios for humankind. That was also in Suicide by Computation as well, so that's a good transition to this. So this is the second edition of a book that's already been out for about a year. Suicide by Computation, of which I'll read the blurb. So it's a collection of 9 short stories exploring the bizarre, the absurd and the strange in science fiction, horror and dark fantasy settings. From a story about a robot believing itself to be a gonzo journalist in futuristic Berlin, to a tale of the cockroach who may destroy the world again. Suicide by Computation is a collection of strange fiction, aiming to entertain and engage readers with experimental and to transport them to a world inspired as much by philosophy as it is by surrealism. And this one's second edition also has a preface by me. This is much more the traditional story format. It's about £7 on Amazon. It's got the preface there as well. Also, I included a quote in this version from Philip Mainlander, the pessimist philosopher, because it actually is a key theme in this book. Is the sort of absurd search for God, the absurdism of that. Obviously, Camus sort of influences me somewhat in that, but basically, it's not just that. Obviously, there are different stories. There's a Kafka influence somewhat in one of the stories, but again, I don't want to spoil stories, but that gives you an idea of the format of it. It's like a trade book format, easy to transport around. It is just, how many pages is it again? I think it's just under 90 something actually. Yeah, but yeah, it's worth picking up, I think, if you like experimental fiction, definitely. And also, I think it's more, I've been trying to define, I think these are more like dark fantasy than as opposed to strict science fiction. I'm not really dealing with aliens. There is robots and artificial intelligence. There is, but it's all used as all those concepts like artificial intelligence, robots, artificial life. It's all used as a way to explore a philosophical idea, really. Which, I mean, you can say that's not a lot of sci-fi, but there's also a sense of humour in some of the stories. There is I've tried to put that into. So yeah, sorry, I had to. Video cut out a bit there, so essentially, yeah, check it out if you're a fan of dark fantasy, a bit of humour, fiction that has a philosophical aspect to it. It's not all like really impressive. It's obviously I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to make the whole introductory video to these books too relatively spoiler free. There is humour in them. There is also sadness. There is also tragedy. There is also everything. They're stories. They're meant to entertain but make you think at the same time. So I'll leave it at that. I'll put the links below. You can buy them from basically all the printing and distribution is done by Amazon, but we also do have a link on the Alien Rabbit site, alienrabbit.co.uk. Which just links to the Amazon anyway, but basically also check out Alien Rabbit because you have some prints on there from Naomi already for sale, stickers as well, t-shirts too. So we do have some accessories now, some pretty cool t-shirt designs, geometric, also expressionistic art. It's mostly medium at the minute. That's mostly the size we have, but I think we've got about 8 in stock roughly all together. So yeah, check them out. You'll probably see something that you like. Yeah, why not buy it? I mean, everything's set up. So yeah, I'll leave the video there. I've been on my Vortex. Like and subscribe. Keep tuned. I might do a few other videos about these books. I'm currently working on the audio stories for Romance and the Commieblocks. I'm doing an audio story version, which will be released probably within the month. I'm about 3 stories in now, of 9, so 6 more to go. Anyway, that's that in a bit.